I am Slick Nick, the living legend of hair loss, your personal hairline hero, and of course the red pill pusher of hair loss. And most recently, I've been crowned as the bro scientist of hair loss. I openly admit my teachings on hair loss are 100% bro science. I'm not a doctor. I don't want to be. I don't really respect the medical community because in their minds, to try to find a cure for something, they have to use something medicinal, big pharma medicine, in order to prove their point. And I don't take prescription drugs. No one in my household does. I don't believe in big pharma. So I am proud to be the bro scientist of hair loss. Now, I want to invite you. I recently, just minutes ago, made a video breaking down the 5 ways you can accurately predict if you're going to go bald. So I invite you to check out that video. In fact, if I'm smart, I'll put a link in the description. So go ahead and check for that after you watch this video. So let's assume that you've watched that video. This is the sequel to that. You've asked yourself the 5 questions I mentioned in that video. You looked at the best of 5. You didn't single out just one, nor did you ask a question that wasn't mentioned. You only focused on the 5 things. You left me a comment saying, Nick, I'm going to go bald, or Nick, I'm not going to go bald based on this. You didn't ask me. You told me because I taught you how to teach yourself to know if you're going to go bald. Okay, so now you have an answer. Now you have direction on that. What comes next? Well, bro science, red pill thinker right here. And this is the red pill I'm handing you right now. What if I were to tell you that while in your mind you think that your level of being attractive and your likability is based on whether you keep your hair? Well, that's the default belief. But me being red pill, I know the truth. And I'm offering you a slice of the truth. And that is, instead of a world where you're judged on your hair, instead there's a list of 10 things that the way that society actually judges you as attractive and likable. And there's 10 things there. There's not one thing being your hair, which you have no real control over. People want to believe, desperate people want to believe that there is a cure for hair loss, that you can cause it and you can prevent it. I know the truth. If there was a cure for hair loss, or if there was something you could actually do to cause male pattern baldness, other than being born and having DNA for it, which I mentioned in those 5 things, then I wouldn't have a side hustle making over $500 a month from doing these videos. You wouldn't search out this topic and find this guy all over the internet. I would have no ability to make money off of that if everybody already knew what it was. Therefore, it does not exist. So imagine most people default think that I would be more attractive and likable if I didn't go bald. In reality, society is sizing you up every day on 10 things, and hair is not on that list. These things tower. They tower over hair loss. They tower. So if you're a smart man, which I am, are you? If you're a smart man, you are going to hack the system. You're going to think, wow, I'm making this big deal about this thing that people aren't paying attention to. I've led myself to believe that. But in reality, an older, more mature, life experienced man who's almost 40 has lived he's probably double my age at least. And he knows more than I do. It's like listening to truth from the future. Someone traveled back in time to tell the young version of me what I needed to know. That's exactly what I'm doing for you. So let's look at what the 10 things are. These are the way you're actually being judged. Number 1, society is judging you on your level of confidence. And what's interesting is, no one can really tell if you're actually confident or not. There's a famous saying, fake it till you make it. Now, I'm in sales, I'm in recruiting. So my ability to communicate with people, and even if I don't know what I'm talking about, as long as they believe that, that's all that matters. That's a trick that salesmen know by default. We know that people can't tell the difference. If you act confident, by default, you are confident. Instead of I need to see it to believe it, it's I need to believe it so I can see it. That's how it works. So number one, convincing people that you are confident. Confidence sells. People are attracted to confident people. Look at me. Look at my 10,000 subscribers I've got on this channel. I'm a confident person. I make it seem like I know what I'm talking about, which I do. That attracts people. Number two, that you respect women and your fellow man. So, for example, respecting your fellow man, when another man succeeds at something, you honor him. You congratulate him. You're happy to see him succeed. You're not jealous of that. That would be insecurity. And of course, do I really need to make a video about respecting women? If you don't know what I mean by respecting women and what all that entails, then you're so far beyond me being able to help you. Look up other videos on how to learn to respect women. Number three, you find identity in your unique skill set. So a confident man such as myself, I know I'm horrible at a lot of things. I'm horrible at most things in life. I'm good at a couple things. I invest in those couple of things that I'm actually good at, and I find my identity and confidence in that. In the same way, instead of focusing on here, you focus on the 10 things, okay? Instead of focusing on what you're bad at, focus on the things that you actually are good at, and that helps brand your identity. You may be the guy who's good at computers, or the guy who's good at fixing cars, whatever it is. Build your identity and your brand off of that. Number four, healthy and fit. Now, some of the other videos I make on this channel, I talk about this. It's very important to me that I'm healthy and fit. And society absolutely finds you, as a man specifically, more attractive if you are healthy and you're fit. Why? Because like all the things on this list, you have control over them. Your hair? No. Your DNA? No. Do you have control over these 10 things? Yes. And absolutely, most people, especially as they get older like me, most people my age don't make the effort to eat right, to stay under that 2,000 calories a day, to go out and walk and lift weights or whatever it is to stay active. Most men my age don't do that. So it's that much more obvious that I do, that I'm nearly 40 and I wear size 31 pants. Like, that's not easy to do, especially here in the United States. Look at all of our superhero movies. And it's funny because like even Ant-Man, Paul Rudd, who's about a decade older than me, even in the first Ant-Man, you see how ripped he is. Well, at the time, he was in his 40s. I mean, he was like, I think, mid-40s at the first Ant-Man movie came out. In reality, to look like that, you have to be so disciplined. And people know that. They find it very attractive that a man does what it takes to be healthy and fit. Number five, being decisive. I talk about Andy Bernard on The Office all the time. He does not believe in himself. He needs constant confirmation of who he is from other people for his own identity. And he can't make up his mind. And that's hilarious. He's by default my favorite character of The Office because it's such a tragedy and it's a train wreck and it's funny. But in real life, you'd never want to be like Andy Bernard, who cannot be decisive. And number six, can't commit. During the whole show, he never lands a relationship that ends up anywhere good. But by the last season, he still doesn't end up with the girl he chased down in the season before. I'm committed. I've been married for 12 years. I stick around at my jobs. I am committed. I drove the same car for 13 years. People find committed men attractive because ultimately they're decisive. Which leads us to number seven, being a leader. Being able to make those difficult decisions, to be able to communicate those difficult truths to people, even if it's not what they want to hear, but you're able to be able to navigate that. Just like number one, people follow confident people. Well, being a leader is very important if you want to be seen as attractive. You want to be the person who either has the answers or can at least convince people that you have the answers or have enough direction to at least give them some kind of answer. Number eight, being a good communicator. I obviously couldn't have 10,000 subscribers on this channel alone, plus over 4,000 on my other one called Family Friendly Daddy Blog, if I wasn't a good communicator. I take complicated concepts and I make them simple. A poor communicator takes simple concepts and makes them complicated. Number nine, sense of humor. And the way I always test my viewers is I start out my video saying, I am Slick Nick, the living legend of hair loss, and all these silly things. If you get mad about that or try to argue with that, and you simply don't get that that's a joke, you don't have a sense of humor. And that's something you need to work on. You need to be able to see what's funny and be funny yourself, because people find that attractive. And then lastly, number 10, being emotionally intelligent. What does that mean? It means you refuse to get offended, insulted, disrespected by anything anyone does or says, because that is always a choice to be those things. You get to decide that. And therefore, the things that do emotionally trigger you are not going to be something someone did as a supposed attack against you. It's going to be something that actually deserves emotions, like someone passing away or someone getting older and you thinking, wow, that's sad. I remember when they're young, and look, yeah, I'm a dad, so I experience that with my kids. So there's the 10 things. This is all bro science, but it's reality. It may be truth that you're not ready for, but it is reality.